Cheers, Elliot.
Cheers, good to see you,
The
mate.
Fringe is up and running.
Oh, it very much is.
We've set up a little studio in an artist bar
Oh, people.
full of industry.
Yeah,
and we're going to find out if me and Elliot talk the same way in front of our peers, colleagues, and people who could present opportunity to what we do when we're just recording in a.
It's annoying that
hotel
it's in
room.
the artist bar because I just want to say that I'm gutted. I'm at the Fringe and I'm missing out on the race war.
I kicked off in Sunderland.
Newcastle are going to try to do it better.
Well, I was like, for the first time, had like empathy for the people of Sunderland, where I was like, they feel misrepresented by. Not in that way. Not in that. That was a bad way to get into this.
For the first time, I felt empathy for them. They're having a race war.
I saw them as humans for the first time. I've really felt for the people that don't think like that in Sunderland, being misrepresented by the trash of their society.
Yeah.
Who have by all accounts been shipped in as well. Like, you know, it's not necessarily the thoughts of the people of Sunderland.
No.
But like there'll be people who are just standard scummy mackums that don't think like that, and they'll be head in hand going, the fucking Geordies are going to be using this against her.
Yeah.
And then there was talk that there was going to be one in Newcastle as well, and I'm just scared to look because what they're going to demarch on St James's Park. Like it's owned by Saudis.
Yeah.
It's under Muslim ownership.
Well, it's
what the fuck? Like, what kind of? You can't expect them to put like 2 and 2 together with stuff like this because they're fucking idiots.
It's 2 and 2 together and stuff like that, and actually you find your like hardcore. It becomes really complicated subject. Like your people like Tommy Robinson and that, they don't actually mind the Saudis and all of these sort of people because they're like, well, they've got their area in it. You know, like Islam and like the Middle East conflict comes like such a dichotomy of like, you know, nobody. You go to the Middle East and it's like nobody hates Muslims more than the Muslims who live next door to them from this tribe and that tribe. You know what I mean? Like,
it's like Celtic and Rangers over there.
Yeah. they're like those people. Hey, we're fine, but those people down the road, they're subhuman scum. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, it's a different.
And there's just a lot of like people just picking what suits their agenda so that they can go on ahead with that agenda right now. Like the amount of people. Sorry to pivot, but the amount of people that have been accidentally woke by screaming on that this woman who was born a woman and lived as a woman in a country where it was illegal to be trans should be a man. And you're like, that's not the argument that you've been doing up until this point. You just thought that was a man for a second, decided to fucking go on after her, and then fucking found out that you were wrong and still doubled down.
Well, that's what's interesting about the culture
and now
war.
You're doubling down as being accidentally woke.
Yeah, but that's what people do, isn't it now? It's like, and I say this in my show, like the culture war, like any war, it's an economy and people profit off war. Okay, so the war serves a purpose. And the purpose is your people like your Tommy Robinsons, your Andrew Tates, and they're right-wing grifters, but you got left-wing grifters as well. Mm-hmm. Fucking some of them are doing shows up here at the Fringe. Right. Like you'll meet these people who are like super, but I'm a feminist, and then you find out they're not allowed to be left alone with the bar stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, so you have these people.
You can never trust anybody that'll like, this is what a feminist looks like as a guy, and you're like, all right.
Yeah, cover your drinks around them. And that was, sorry, what was I saying? That thing that I find with the culture war is like, I don't think anyone actually believes the points they're saying. Mm-hmm. They're saying it exactly like you're saying because it suits their agenda at the current time for that purpose to piss off the other side. Mm-hmm. So you saw this. Do you remember this comedian Jordan Gray? She's transgender and she did a bit on a Channel 4 show that was live where she played the piano with her cock, right? And suddenly,
I remember that.
Yeah, everyone in comedy switched. So everyone who was like the right-wing side, that TV doesn't push boundaries anymore. It's too safe. You know, they're not putting anything on that pushes the
all of a sudden they were trying to put cancel culture on her.
You shouldn't be doing this. We're a Christian country. This is disgraceful. And all the woke people who were like, hey, you know, comedy should punch up. We shouldn't be. We're like, hey, comedy's meant to push boundaries. It's meant to do. And everyone swaps sides. And you go, oh, none of you actually believe this thing. None of you actually have a thought that you believe. You're just on your side, and when it suits your team. And that's that.
I've been really trying hard, and I mean, because I've always like been quite outspoken, most on Facebook, because I'm speaking to people in Blythe. It's always been my private Facebook profile.
Yeah.
Which now it's not. It's gone now. Like, it's public now. But like, for instance, the lads that got battered by the police in Manchester Airport, I saw that through one particular lens where they were just abused. And then it was like days later, CCTV come out where like he fucking square punched the female officer in the face before it all kicked off. And without that context, like it looked like fucking race hate. You know, and then I was just like, I was fucking gutted by the treatment. Still, like the way they were fucking manhandled, still out of order. But I fucking kept myself quiet because I was like, fuck, man, there's different angles to this, and I'm getting one of them because I've got my own little echo chamber of social media.
And like, I don't think you should have kicked him in the head yet, but I do believe that you fuck around, you find out, brother. I might do that to the cops.
Man,
you know what I mean?
This is dated, but I've kicked people in the head for punching women. Like, take into the equation that it's a cop. I'd kick a cunt in the head if you punched a woman in the face. 100%. Because like, how do you like getting bullied?
And as well, like, remember with the police, they can abuse you, and they'll get away with it.
They're a gang. Like, fuck with the mafia, you find out.
But don't you think it's funny how then all the Tommy Robinson lot who were cheering him for kicking that guy in the head are now like, the police are abusing us because we've turned up. We've turned up to a memorial for children who've been murdered with cans.
Cans and bricks.
Made a day out of it. They made a day out of it.
They tried it like the
Got
Euros.
a bag in. Imagine going, you're going to the memorial later for the kids. Get 3 for 100. Like, what are you doing? You sickos.
You're just watching people going full circle on their fucking standards, like on a dime.
Man, do you not feel this? And you're definitely a member of the British working class. I'm pro working class, right? I support the British working class until I ever have to work with the British working class. Like, if I ever have to hire the working class, I suddenly find myself I'm
one of them when I've got a trade in me.
Oh, no, but I try. I try.
I don't know anything about cars. No mechanic's going to try and bump us. They think I know about cars because of how I sound.
We had a guy come around and do the decking, right? He sound as, and he was like, I've just got back from Benidorm. I was like, Benidorm's class, innit? He was like, yeah, you've been. We were both talking about Tenerife and Ibiza, and I was like, how long can I keep this up?
But they weren't watching I'll Be Senior, ironically. They were enjoying his jokes. That's the difference.
No, this is what they do when people find out you do comedy. Do you know that Paul Smith?
Oh yeah,
that's like the working class hero. Isn't it? Do you know that Paul Smith? You got to be like, yeah.
Paul Smith and Bridges. They've really connected.
Bridges, Paul, I find Paul is, it's mad because like Paul can walk out there in like a Rolex, like a spenny watch. He'll probably wear a Patek Philippe or like something spenny, and they're cool with it. But then if McIntyre did that, people would be a bit like, all right, mate.
Yeah, because the way they'd think with McIntyre is that he always had that money. But then if they see Paul Smith with a watch on, they'll be like, I got that laddie's watch. There'll be a bit of a connection where they're like, fucking, I chipped in on that with a ticket sale. Like, I actually wanted him to have that watch. Whereas if you see somebody that's like fucking posh London, you just say, fucking, he would have had that watch anyway. Like, you're showing off.
That's the one thing I've never been able to get into his watches. The other day I was with
wasted on me.
I was with a mate of mine who has a Rolex, and he said, "Go and put it on." I felt like I was holding a newborn baby.
I
was scared. And I was like, "How much was this?" And he told me how much it was, and I put it on, and it didn't look good, but I did go like, I feel powerful. Like I wanted to.
I feel like I'd have such imposter syndrome with a good watch on because people would then start talking to you about watches and you'd know fuck all. Like, have you ever worn a t-shirt because you like the t-shirt but you realise it's part of a subculture? Like, I had a Norton motorcycle t-shirt just because it was a good fit and it looked good and it was a nice make. I bought it when I was in New York, right, with this Norton motorcycle. The amount of fucking people who were into motorcycles that wanted to talk to me about motorcycles because I was wearing a Norton t-shirt.
And you think you're not going to get bumped by a mechanic?
Not when I wear that t-shirt. Not when I have like a couple of seconds with us. So I like what I was getting back at that point is like I really try to just observe everything before I fucking come wade in with a point new, because there's a narrative for everybody, and you just really don't want to just you can't help it. You've got your own bias. You've got your own way you want it to play out.
Yeah.
Right. So you can't help stick your own bias to it. So when you get the thing that suits your narrative, it's just don't grab onto it with both hands yet. Just tiptoe around it. Check around the back. Like, have a look at everything from every angle before you fucking like decide.
But there is like with these people who are out there doing the writing and all of that stuff, right? And I do want to go like, how much at some point, because like, part of me goes, look, white working class people in this country have been shat on. Like, there's no ifs or buts about it, right? The government does fuck all for them. They've imposed this. They've had austerity imposed on them. The schools, the libraries, everything shut down. So like, you will know someone from an area who is as switched on and as clever as anyone you've ever met. Doesn't have the confidence and the opportunity of someone who goes to private school, right? So they just come, a cabbie or something like that. Not that there's a shame in that, but they don't.
Yeah, there's no opportunity, and also your education's working against you because you've had a shit school.
Yeah. So to expect these people, and I kind of feel sorry for them in a way, like they're angry and they're trying to let out their anger. And the thing that happens is people like Farage and Tommy Robinson, like, it's a grift, it's a culture war. Like, Nigel Farage isn't going to help working class people. Like, he's an old school conservative. Old school. He doesn't believe in a national health service. He does not want to help the working class. But he has a way of speaking where he can get through to these people. He is, and don't misquote me on this, he's a phenomenal politician. Like, he's a phenomenal politician. I don't agree with him.
Clip that, Matthew.
Yeah.
Clip that.
But he's the most effective politician in the last 40 years in Britain. He's got everything he's wanted.
But has he not
got Brexit. I'm saying he's like, do you know what he's like? He's like a footballer.
Is he not just
he's good at their job. You know what I mean?
Like a Robbie Savage.
No, he's better than what was Savage. He's like Karim Benzema.
Oh, because he was a bad man.
Yeah, he's a bad man, bro, and he was a prick on the pitch.
Did he not? I mean, I'm going off clickbait. Did he not try to bribe one of his teammates with revenge porn?
Blackmail.
To blackmail money out of him, otherwise he'll release these videos that have come into his hands.
Yeah.
And then that's why he never played for France in the tournaments when he was the fucking main striker.
Loads of them, He just... Imagine, like, if I was a footballer and I was just making that money, do you know how much a good time I'd be having? I wouldn't be blackmailing people.
Yeah, I thought you play football with on a weekend.
I would just... What the fuck? But we're going back to, like, Farage and all these people. They stir up these points and they speak to the working class community in a way where, like, Keir Starmer can't come out and go, listen, we've had austerity imposed in these areas and stuff and all of this, because he's got to make budget cuts. So that's why someone on the fringes of politics is able to stir these people up and galvanise them and get them to do this stuff, because the system itself that we're in, nobody could come out. Imagine the Prime Minister come out and went, look, I have to get millions of pounds to run for office, so I've got to make deals with business, so I've got to do some fucking tax cuts. That ain't going to work in your favour.
Have you been watching House of Cards?
No.
Just lobbyists.
Yeah.
Lobbyists just fucking, this is how you're spending the money.
Did you watch that show?
To a point.
How did it get on after Spacey?
I didn't watch it after that point. That he's been, for me, one of the hardest people to separate the man from the art, because he fucking shits gold in everything he's in.
Oh, he's phenomenal.
And then, like, it's hard not to watch him now and going, well, he's just played himself.
Well, you know,
he's just playing a fucking bastard in everything that he's in.
You know, his dad was like a Nazi.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. His dad was like a Nazi and like molested him a load or something. Don't know if that helps you.
Poor guy. I get all these points now.
I should be his lawyer. I've got this. His dad was a Nazi and he got molested. Let's all chill.
I've actually considering. I've produced some pretty good for Baby Driver. Like, how many people do you know that got raised by a Nazi? And,
I go, Your Honour, can we look at evidence B? And the screen comes down and it's just like his show reel. I go, hey, talented.
Yeah, 7. He's pretty convincing in 7. Just because he was being himself.
The audience just go, ooh, he's got a point.
So, you know, these guys that are marching on mosques and all that, right? How do they watch American History X?
Probably on telly.
Do they watch it? They'll probably watch it on the telly. But do they watch it on a point of view that, like, Derek Vineyard come out of prison woke?
Yeah, probably.
Do they see a completely different film?
I guess I don't. But do you think?
Do they see the growth arc?
American History X is actually quite like a arts house film in a way. It's not like
I put off watching that because I just didn't I protected myself from it because I heard about the Curb Stomp scene.
Yeah.
I heard about the prison rape scene, and I was just like, I don't know if I want to watch that.
Yeah.
I really don't think I want to watch that. And then like when I was just went on a drive watching a bunch of films and taking recommendations. Just like recommend a film like I've never seen anything. So people were recommending Pulp Fiction. You know what I mean?
Great.
And that one come up loads, American History X. And I was like, right, I'm gonna give this film a chance instead of just fucking like if you're in a WhatsApp group with some degenerates and someone sends a beheading video, you're not watching that fucking video, right? I'd kind of done that, and then watched it back and didn't realise how much of a fucking good public commentary, social commentary that film was.
Yeah, it's like it's very like artistically done, but I think you assume those people watch that film. They don't watch films like that. You've got to have a level of like understanding. You want to have an understanding or something about the world. That's why like films and art are important, because you can watch something that can change your view on something. You know, like Schindler's List. Like, and you have to be seriously anti-Semitic to watch Schindler's List and not. You either gonna watch, if you're anti-Semitic and watch it, you're either gonna go, that's a lie.
So do you think anti-Semitic people will watch Schindler's List as propaganda?
I think they watch it and be like, that never happened.
Oh, they'll just never watch it.
That's how it never went down.
Because like they're probably not going to watch it. Because I didn't watch the Tommy Robinson video where he was fucking galvanizing these people. Because that man, I've seen people sharing that like, you know, I was saying with fucking Facebook's gone. I've got like a fucking friends list of fucking like 5,000 and then followers after that. But I'll running a gig, just accepting friend requests because I want to punt tickets to people. Right? So I've just got these 5,000 people that I don't know. That's me. Capped limit of people who I also see. There's people who see me post that I don't see, but then there's also these people that got in before I hit the cap. The amount of people that shared that Tommy Robinson video, and I've never watched it. I'm not giving that cunt me fucking eyes. But like in the same way I'm not watching that, they're probably not watching.
Yeah, they're not going to watch American history. But the thing with like everyone sharing that Tommy Robinson video and stuff is it's just. I don't know.
He's not even called Tommy Robinson.
Stephen Yaxley Lennon. Yeah. Tommy Robinson was the leader of the Luton Miggs football firm, and he used the name. But is
that just because it sounds like a more rounded British name? That he's got a brand.
Tommy Robinson actually comes from a bit of money, man. Like his stepdad was like a plumber in Bedford who owned like a business.
But he'll play that. My dad's a plumber.
Yeah. But his family like had a bit of money and stuff. He's off his face on gear all the fucking time.
It doesn't make us like him.
I'll do a line with Tommy Robinson, bro. Could you imagine trying to get a word in when Tommy Robinson's okay? Yeah, because the thing you don't understand, mate, is not what's going on with this society. And they're coming over here, and you're just there like, I'll just pass us the bag.
I don't think I could fucking switch off the intrusive thoughts that would go, start swinging. I would swing on a minute into a conversation. I fucking guarantee it.
He's such a fucking. He's
somebody that needs kicked the fuck.
Yeah, but he's been kicked to fuck before. He's not. What's amazing about him is like, and again, like British people's like, but the English attitude of we never have to learn anything about anything. There was this like pride in ignorance with English people, and it's when he got sent to jail because he went to the court. Goes, I'll make documentaries now. And he went up there with a camera and started filming outside the court and the defendants, and their names hadn't been released yet. So they were like, you're jeopardizing the entire case. That's illegal. What you've just done is illegal. You can't do that. So you have to go to prison for it because you have broke several laws to do with things that I don't understand. But you can't film inside courts when they haven't released the names of people. So we had to go to prison. So everyone's like, they're protecting the paedophiles of it. You're like, no, they're not, you fucking idiot. Do you think the British government is sat there going, we better protect these paedophiles?
Do you think get this outspoken truth sayer?
Yeah.
Locked up.
Nobody in Parliament brings up what I say. And it's like, yeah, because you're a right-wing thug. And this is where like people like Tommy Robinson, whenever they can't drift into mainstream politics because he just embarrasses himself when he has to come up against anything that's like reasonable. Like anyone who's like an actual politician or anything would be able to sit down and dismantle him so quickly. If you ever watch podcasts with Tommy Robinson, he's really good at speaking over people and having like the odd good point. But like the minute he had to sit with someone
on an intellectual level,
he would be taken apart. He would beat me in a podcast. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. You know what I mean? If I sat down with Tommy Robinson, we'd probably end up talking about Stone Island.
Would you get talked down by him because like you just emotional intelligence would be enough to fucking see you through with the morals of life. Yeah. You wouldn't need to know a great deal about politics to talk to someone about ethics.
Yeah. I think I'll try to make him swing for me.
Try to make him. I'll never let him punch first.
No.
Nah.
He's 5'6",
He's
bro.
not landing a glove, mate. He's
5'6"
before he knows he's in a fight.
Oh, he's 5'6". This is what I think. Like Tommy Robinson, man. Why are we letting someone who's 5'6", right, lead people? On like a serious level, right?
Napoleon did a good job, like.
But he wasn't small. That's British propaganda.
Is that true?
Yeah, he wasn't small. He was a perfectly average.
Take him up and measure him.
He was like complete.
Should take a bunch of drugs and eat and go and try and dig up Napoleon.
Why do we need to take drugs? What do you think that's going to? When we get arrested, that's going to get him.
I can't throw on my coked up ideas. Why do you think I've got a dog software?
He's got his tomb is made in a way so you're either always looking up or you're always bowing down. Like it's like designed to be that you're always paying respect.
Where's he kept?
Somewhere in France, I imagine.
You reckon so? Do they still like him?
I don't know much about. I know what was it after the French Revolution. So the French had it's like classic like revolution. Like we got rid of the thing. What do we replace it with? And then everyone fell out with each other. And then Napoleon was able to use that. He was a general, and then he was able to seize power over France and kind of came like a dictator. Incredible like character though. Got exiled and came back, and his troops were told to shoot him. And he like stood in front of his troops and he went, "You're going to shoot me? I'm your commander. You love me." And like they all just put their guns down and were like, "Yeah." They were like, "We love this guy." That is baller. Like that is baller, bro.
Was that after the Joaquin Phoenix film?
That actually happened.
Did it?
Yeah. So they like went to stop him, and like they were told like if he comes at you are to shoot him, and he was there like, "I'm your general. I'm your commander. You fight for me." Like.
I got a bit of love for that.
Oh, but you got to respect that to some level.
Where do they have like all these historical figures? There will be like a burial place for them. Like even going as far back as Caesar. Is there a Caesar grave where the
Caesar's palace?
Caesar's palace. It wasn't in Vegas.
It's where he wanted to be buried.
In Vegas, class.
It's where he wanted to be buried.
I think I made a dance on his grave when I won £200 in electronic roulette.
Imagine that's why there was Caesar's palace. He just wanted to be buried in Vegas. And he's like, in 2,000 years, trust me, this is the place to be. Karl Marx has his grave in London. I think it's in fucking like Primrose Hill or something.
Savile had a big memorial fucking
in
thing,
Leeds,
didn't he?
Yeah.
In Leeds, they would have took that down.
Yeah, they should have kept it.
Just a reminder.
No, but this is the thing: is like everyone goes, don't tear down statues. They're to remind us of our history.
I mean, if you're in that camp, like that is a very valid argument for 2020. Like, when people were saying that, you would be like, "Aye, then put the Savile statue back up."
Yeah, go on. No, I think history is so complicated. Like Churchill, right? Churchill was a bad guy. Genocidal. But he was great in World War II. So what he means to different people is a different thing. And that's life. Do you know what I mean?
What you need when you're fighting Hitler is a genocidal guy.
Yeah, and not only that, like, to be fair, here's what you need when you fight Hitler. Stalin. And that's who was on his side. And FDR.
Like playing your Pokemon, just going, "Oh, you think you're a buddy?"
Yeah.
This buddy.
Like, and I think Churchill, like, the importance of England in the war is overstated. I think it's important, but like, they were never going to beat America and Russia. The combination of that was insane. Like, absolutely insane. Now, where you would have had to, if Britain had got invaded, where you would have launched to fight Hitler to free Western Europe would have been a different thing. So it was important, but you know what I mean?
Have you seen the Norm Macdonald routine about Germany?
It took over the world.
It went to war with the world. Who are you going to fight next, Mars?
Yeah, I don't know, but like Churchill, like when people like tear down his statue, and when it's like liberal people trying to do that, I'm like, look, you're just trying to piss those people off. You're just trying to let them have their fucking statue, man. Just don't go look at it. Like, why? Why are you going to go look at it?
What statue were talking about Hitler?
Like, no, like...
a Hitler statue.
I'd love a Hitler statue.
You'd love one?
I think there should be one.
Shut up.
Why not?
Why so?
Well, he's an important historical figure.
Is that what we're doing with statues? Is just important historical
Well,
figures?
you know, it's just like, why shouldn't he get one?
Where's the Stolen Hill badge?
Why shouldn't there be a Hitler statue?
What are you doing?
You could just write a nice. You don't have to write a nice thing about him.
Yeah, I think you've got to put up a statue in like fucking good faith at the time, where you're like, at the time you think this is an important person that made the world a better place. You put the statue up, and then when the fucking history reveals itself and you have that conversation, then you're going, right, do we leave it up or take it down, right? Like that's the bit where they're like, history's history, right? You don't know all of the facts and then put up a statue for a guy that's just part of history.
I think we just, I think he should get a little. It doesn't have to have like. I'm not saying there's Nelson's column.
In the artist bar, I'm like, is Elliot Steele going to talk the very same way that he talks when we're just locked in a hotel room and he's just shouting up in front of all of
all the industry,
all of the industry. Let's put up a statue of Hitler.
And then I go, why don't I get booked for TV?
Subscribe now our Patreon for the stuff that we don't have the balls to say on the public episode.
No, I just think, why wouldn't you have a statue of him? He's an important historical figure.
Yeah, mate. Like I think if anybody,
we'll put it somewhere he wouldn't like.
Israel.
Yeah.
So Elliot Steele wants to put up a Hitler statue in Israel. Is that the conclusion that we've made?
And everyone could go spit on it and stuff. I'm not saying you have to go there and lay a wreath. Like, you can treat it the way you want to treat it. You can treat it like Greyfriars Bobby. We go rub his moustache and for good luck.
Bring him a stick.
Give him like. Oh, but I mean, like when people try, like it's like when people tore down the Colston statue in
Bristol.
Yeah, Colston was evil. Like that guy, the entire like so much of Bristol is named after him, and the guy was like a slaver. It's like, yeah, don't like. I get why you tear that down.
Oh, you fucking of course you do. Like if I'm like fucking, if I'm going back to Blythe and there's a fucking.
Thatcher
Statue for Thatcher in the middle of fucking Blythe. We're fucking absolutely bringing that down.
Man, should I tell you?
The people are going to take that down the minute you put it up. I'm not now, like.
Should I tell you how weird London's got, right? Speaking of Thatcher. So, I have this joke, and I used to do it years ago. I forgot I did it, and I brought it back because it works in a bit. One of those jokes, right? You go, oh, it works in a bit. I got it when my dad was diagnosed with cancer, and we're both like, we don't have the kind of relationship where we hug and stuff. The last time me and my dad hugged was when Thatcher died, right?
Did you actually like celebrate like Palace had just got promoted?
Oh, when Thatcher died, I was in sixth form. My dad rang me. Mm-hmm. My dad rang me. It was like, she's fucking dead. Like, joyful.
I still feel like I get that. There's still something a bit macabre about it.
Yeah, 100%. But like, fuck her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hi. Oh yeah, the knock-on effects of like fucking my life from her, and I wasn't really there. I wasn't really there for it. I was a child for it and all that shit. Like for the back end, I guess. But like, I know that like my life is worse because of her. I've clearly. It turned out right.
Yeah. But she destroyed communities.
The start I got in life without having any industry in my community and without having any fucking transport links because they left with the industry and just being in this little fucking mothball society where nobody's got any money and the high street's dead and the working men's clubs are dead because there's no workers anymore and all that.
Oh, destroyed the mining communities.
Yeah. So I'm from the communities that were like fucking affected by her. Yeah, I get that. Like fucking. So it's for like especially for your dad if he lived through that. Like.
Yeah. He's constant. But then I do that joke in London, right? You used to get laughs. Now, because like the kind of people who move to London are these sort of home counties, they all work in finance, they all live in Clapham, get coffee, like they're like copy pasted of the same person, right? Like you go to a comedy club, you do that joke and it goes like, no, we shouldn't really joke. And I'm like, you're not a fucking liberal. Like, if you're a liberal, you know what I mean? Like the fact that liberal people I know listen to Alistair Campbell's podcast. That guy's a war criminal.
Who is that guy?
He was the spin doctor for the Iraq War. He was Tony Blair's right-hand man.
I can't believe that they used to actually title it Spin Doctor as well.
Yeah. Like imagine you cheated on your girl and then lied about it and you went, no, I'm not a liar, I'm a spin doctor.
The gaslighter.
I'm a spin doctor, baby. I'm spin doctoring my cheating.
I'm spinning it.
People would... Do you know what's funny?
I know, babe, I was just keeping the wolf away from the gate. I've been a better husband since...
If he'd done that, Alistair Campbell gaslit his wife. People would be more angry about that than he did in gaslighting us and going into an illegal war, killing like 1 million people and never apologising for it. That's where like the state we're in with things.
Like his kids did a Fringe show.
Yeah, I'm not. Hey, if I speak, I'm in trouble.
Oh, because we're in an artist bar.
No. I don't give a fuck. People know my opinion on that. I try not to have any. She blocked me on Instagram, innit, because I did a bit about her dad and put it up. And she like blocked me on Instagram and stuff.
And then she like, does she align with her dad?
No, she doesn't really have any opinions on anything. It's quite amazing actually to watch someone come from such an incredibly historic political background and have absolutely nothing to say on anything.
I mean, I don't know. Like you don't ask to be born, right? You don't ask what you're born into. Right. I've been lucky with the situation I was born into, like with my family that raised us right. Like I feel like they've done a good job of raising us. But like, if I had to like fucking come out of being raised by somebody that fucking is reprehensible, like you can't have that. Like you can't be held to account for that. No,
I'm not saying held to account, but I've watched like routines. We're doing the same comedy club, and I watched a routine during the cost of living crisis that was all about her buying her dog a Prada collar.
Oh, so it's just out of touch more.
And I was sat there like, just gobsmacked. Like, so I'm in Soho House. I'm in, it's all, and it's just like.
Oh, so she's actually loving the financial kickback of.
I was just there like, there's people who can't put the heating on, and you're up here like doing a routine about Prada dog collars, and your dad should be at The Hague. and what? It's not her fault. All the power to, like, genuinely, all the power to her. Like, good for her. She's good at what she does. She sells her things. She's good. I'm not knocking her as a comic.
And you know, people like, does she have a fan base? Or
She's huge.
Right, and it's a fan base from people that like her dad.
No, her fan base is from like. Like I see a lot of like liberal sort of women go to it and stuff, but there's just this facade of liberalism now. I think people are liberal because of office culture. They're not actually liberal. They're liberal because they have to be, because they have to walk into the office, paint this face of themselves, nobody can have an actual opinion. So like the girl I'm seeing at the moment, like whenever she tells me about things about the office culture and all of this, I'm like, wow, this sounds horrible. Like everyone has to paint on, but these people aren't actually liberal. They're not liberal people. They've come from the home counties. They've come from like money. They've come from these. But liberalism, to them is like doing the recycling. You know what I mean? Bringing the
Pride Month.
Yeah. Going to Pride. But Pride Month is sponsored. Fucking Lockheed Martin had a float at Pride.
Did they?
Yeah.
Arms dealers.
The arms dealers. The arms dealers. And you go, oh, thank God our cruise missile has a rainbow flag on it.
A rainbow on your tomahawk.
Yeah. As we drop it on. Oh, thank you for defending my freedom from that Yemeni wedding. Like, I'm glad there was I'm glad you wrote "Love is Love" as it landed on a school in Baghdad.
And then they just take all the rainbows down at the end of the month and just go back to normal.
Yeah, like,
it's all just like what you're saying is just, the office culture is all just like the box ticking and the like.
It's performative.
Performative.
It's not. It's like, look, I'm liberal. I'd probably say some choice words that I shouldn't say every now and then, do you know, because I'm a human being.
I feel like we're liberal, but we won't censor ourselves, and we will say things that are controversial just because they're funny.
It's called vulgar left.
Vulgar left, yeah.
So it's like a version of the left where you're like, you know, I think like.
I didn't realise we had a pigeonhole that we've slotted into. I'm a bit sad about it.
Oh, really?
I felt unique.
You're part of a group, man.
I felt like a unique little snowflake.
No, it's part of a group. And we're probably wrong on everything.
To be like, I will say the most horrendous thing that's possible in this time, but it's not my true beliefs.
Yeah.
You know, like it's sometimes when you say something on a podcast or something on stage that would have killed in the WhatsApp because everybody knows your core.
Yeah.
Everybody knows who you are to your core, so they're gonna let you say that because it's not you. It's just your fucking hard ball and overhand, something that you shouldn't be doing. They're like, whoa,
dude.
Then you do it on stage to a bunch of people that don't know you, and they're like, is that him? You're like, that's not me.
It's finding that line. I have to be careful with it because of how I look and how I sound. So I have to be like really careful with treading the line. And when I get it wrong,
I did it today, man.
Really?
I did an afternoon show today and done. I mean, I guess the majority of people on the podcast have seen me older stuff, but I was doing a showcase show in the afternoon to try to sell tickets for my show. Did some old material, so that if people come to my show, then I'll get the new one. I've done the one about baiting the guy who wasn't a pedo in my estate, Pedo Terry.
Yeah.
I'd done that bit. And everybody just felt for the poor man on the estate that got terrorised by children.
Yeah.
And everybody just went cold on us, and I won them back. Like, they ducked out for that bit. Not everybody. It didn't bomb. There was enough.
You could feel the gig dip.
There was enough people laughing that are now there buying tickets and coming to my show. Right, but at least what I did is I filtered and I made sure that there's people in that audience that got to see what stand-up I do, and they're not going to buy tickets and fucking make me solo show bomb because they're going to be shocked by the way I talk. I just did that room splitter moment where I was like, should have probably tailed that into the room, but also you made sure that you're not getting the wrong people in your thing.
Yeah,
because it's a 2:00 show at Pleasance.
I've had some when I get it wrong. The suicide routine, to get that right, took a while. That's probably one of my best bits ever. Then
the good bits take a little while to get right, to get the tone of it right, because you're like, you need to pick up what I'm putting down here. Like, I know it's funny, I just need to translate it to you in a bit that you think it's funny. It sometimes takes you a couple of runs at it.
Yeah, I got a bit in a minute where I talk about someone calling me a right?
Beep that.
They're not going to know what. Take a wild guess.
This is what kind of black. They said it. They said harder.
I have like this joke about it, and it's like, because like last year at the Fringe I kissed a boy, and like to the point just things about that happening, and I was so stunned because I've never been called that word homophobically before. I've been called it. I'm out with my boys and I've blown on my food because it's a bit hot. And it always like gets a laugh because I think people can tell, like, everyone gets there's like this funny thing where like anyone, like, girls goes, you've said that word to your mate. Like, you've done it. You've done it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's wrong, sure, whatever. But you can stop being such a... Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone has done that to a point where I think there's like this funny little admission where we all go, I've been there with my mates and I've done something where they've just used the word.
I yelled it on stage once.
Oh, yeah, this was great.
It was Jojo Sutherland was doing jokes, what was it called? Joke Thieves.
Joke Thieves, yeah.
So everybody goes on in the first half and does their set. And then you're quickly scribbling away, trying to remember what they said. And it's a bit like a game in the Generation game where you just like, you've got to copy the thing that you've just seen.
Yeah.
And then you go on and you swap each other's routines. And one of her jokes was... my son was in the Navy. I didn't even know he was gay.
Yeah.
And then I went, my son was in the Navy, and then just took a massive deep breath and yelled it.
Did it kill?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The fucking... Mate, I filled me lungs.
Yeah.
I filled me lungs to shout it.
So
because
funny.
I wasn't saying it.
Yeah.
I was just going, that's what she's doing. And that I was taking the piss.
Fuck, that's so funny, man.
You could have heard it outside the venue.
Really?
And did you notice how I didn't repeat it in the artist bar?
No.
Everyone ran up and went, what's that? Can any fucking get you?
Could you imagine having... I have to speak to my agent later about why I'm banned from Abattoir. And then she's like, what happened? Well, we were doing a podcast and we screamed homophobic.
Oh, you know about Danny, who mentioned Albie Senior earlier. For anyone that didn't know who I was talking about, it's a racist comedian that wears a full union, skinhead guy, well, bald. I don't think he's skinhead optionally.
No, yeah.
Wears a big Union Jack outfit and just does racist jokes, right? And one of the jokes was... I think it was something about like an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Not my doctor, he's a Muslim. A bacon sandwich a day keeps my doctor away, right? And fucking everyone's dying laughing because that's the audience in Benidorm, right? And we're in the back just like, what the fuck, right? So Danny was at Andrew Maxwell's wedding with Soraya, who's Egyptian, whose family are Muslim. And then he's just come back from Benidorm and he tells the story, that the way I've just told it to you, about the racist comedian that like we ended up watching ironically in Benidorm, and he repeats the joke and people laugh, but just as he gets to the point where he repeats the joke, Soraya's dad joins the conversation and just gets the joke.
Oh.
So he didn't get the context.
So was he like funny with it?
And he just got the joke and it was tense.
Oh, really?
So Danny went into another room and went, oh my God, you can't believe what just happened. I think he ended up going for a split for Maxwell. So, right?
Yeah.
And he was just like, oh man. And he told the story that I've just told you about him telling the joke. And then him turned up at the last minute. And as he does it, he turns up at the last minute and just catches the end of it. So now Daniel is just going around the wedding telling everybody this racist joke.
And Soraya's dad just...
Soraya's dad hates him.
Oh.
Hates him.
Did I tell you when I was at Matty and Amia's wedding, right? Amia's dad and her uncle or something, like, found out I was a comedian. And they just started going to me, so, like, what kind of stuff do you do? Like, I was like, you know, like, I don't want to, like, someone was like, and they just go at me. Bear in mind, just do, like, I believe Indian heritage men.
All Indian, yeah.
Yeah, well, like, the more racist, the better.
Is that he said that?
Just me, like, the more racist. And I was like, well, you know, I don't really do stuff like that. And he was like, no. He was like, if I come see you, I want you to be. I was like, no.
I didn't think the white people would love it.
I was like,
the white people would love it. You would. I found that with there's nobody more racist to each other than the second generation and third generation Indian and Asian.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Like especially in a working class community like Blythe, there's a couple of lads that there's a lad that's parents are Vietnamese and a lad whose parents are Indian, and they are constantly racist to each other on Facebook to the point that getting constant bans. Like you'll see the shit they say to each other on social media, and then you'll just see them disappear for 30 days. They come back and I'm in a Facebook jail.
In my school football team, yeah. Bear in mind, I went to school where, like, on my football team, I think there was like 2 white kids. Right, if anyone ever like was able to get what we said to each other in the changing rooms, it's inexcusable. Like, everyone just sending for each other. Everyone. But
the dressing room's one of the funniest places to be, like in sport.
And then the Jamaican lads and then the lads who are African will start going for each other, and
it makes you uncomfortable,
bro. Like, bad. Like, one of them, I can't even repeat it. I can't repeat
and then
it.
he got a cable. I can just put this in the speakers. We'll pump this out. We don't want the people upstairs to miss it. Can we just pump this out into the hall?
Everyone in Underbelly. But it was, but that was like, there was this thing where it was like, you were just talking shit. There was no malice to it.
Oh, no,
people were talking shit to each other. It was, and that's what.
That's so something I talk about is the substance of the words, right? Like not veneer, the actual words themselves can sometimes come across like crass and unsavory and all that. But then sometimes you can say words that's just got depth to it that like is rotten.
Yeah.
And spoiler alert, if you're coming to my show, I talk about doing the dip. You know, when you choose who's it in the game of tag.
Yeah.
Working class people, lip dip, dog shit, fucking bastard, dirty git, right? It's all swear words. Nothing bad, right? But unsavoury. But we're posh people, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a fishy by the toe, and you're like, aye, fucking fishy was it?
Oh, yeah,
you say fishy, did you? If it squeals, let it go.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you with sugarcoating your words. You're rotten, but you're fucking coming across. You're coming across like the fucking nicest pie. Where we're coming across as fucking scum because we're swearing. And actually, like, our heart's in a good place, and your heart's fucking, you know what you're saying. You don't act like you don't know what you're saying when you're catching a fishy by the toe. You've changed one word, and I haven't done this on stand-up, but fishy. You went, oh, tiger is too close to the word itself. We're going to change it. Well, they are pretty fishy. Like, it's even fucking rotten word to use.
Yeah, that is fine. And like, to trust the audience to understand, like, you're right on that though, that like, saying that as like a kid was like, if big dog shit, fucking bastard city get. That's what we used to do.
And we're the ones that like will fucking get frowned upon in the arts industry because we're crass.
Yeah.
And then somebody that's like the hip dog shit guys didn't get recognised at this festival. The eeny meeny miny mo guys get awards.
I don't get frowned upon, me. I got 4-star in short. I'm pretty
That's I want to congratulate you on that actually, because you got a 4-star review in what essentially was a preview of the show where it's not meant to be ready yet. Which I thought it was a bit rotten that they were reviewing you that early into the festival, and you've come out with a good review.
Mate, I had so that week I filmed a special of the old show, which I'd never felt fear right before.
Oh yeah, you were genuinely nervous before that, weren't you?
Scared.
But you done a good special though.
It was amazing. It's like it will come out in November. I can't wait for everyone to see it.
I think you've got to channel them nerves, because I feel them now and again. Like I've managed to iron them out to the point that I barely recognise them anymore, right? But every now and again, when I get them nerves and I know this thing's important and it could change things if it goes right, and I do start being a bit selfish. Rather than thinking about the crowd and making them laugh, I start thinking about myself, and this could make everything change for me if it goes well.
Yeah.
Right? I try to take that energy and do it in the same way you would get them nerves before a cup final in a football game, where you're tapping your studs off the floor, your nerves are manifesting in a way that affects your body, right? But you're not gonna not get on that pitch and play your heart out.
It felt like my first fight, the boxing match actually.
Yeah.
Like the fear that I was feeling was up
But
there.
you channeled it though, you didn't let it overwhelm you.
Yeah, I did. I couldn't wait. I genuinely, one of the best gigs of my life. I couldn't wait to get off stage so it was done.
Do you know
what I mean? Like I was
you start wishing your life away when something good's in front of you.
Yeah.
Sometimes just because you want it to be behind you and you want to be reflecting on it rather than looking towards it.
Yeah, and then the other night when I had like Bennett and these reviewers in, and it was the second night, I was still a little bit like learning the show.
Yeah.
And I've had to do a quick turnaround with this show, touring the last one while writing this one.
Yeah, I've been in the same boat. I took the Mischief show to Belgium like 5 days before the festival started. So I've got 2 shows in my head. One that's like airtight and I've recorded it and it's filmed and it's ready to go out, and I'm doing that. And then I've got this new show that like I'm busy working on and I'm piecing it together. And it's very rare you've got 2 shows that are like ready to go in your head and your head's fucked. You just feel like you're like, imagine I just filled the fucking memory on me Mac.
Yeah.
It's gonna start running slow.
Yeah.
If there's too much shit on there, right? And I'm just in that point where I've got this show that works, that I know, and I've got this show that I'm trying to get to work and I'm trying to remember, and I just feel like I can't do anything else. I can't play a computer game. I can't read a book. Like the processing speed of my computer is just fucking shutting right down. And it's like a couple of days into the Fringe, I'll have this locked in and I'll remember key points of the previous show that I can use on showcase shows.
Yes,
it'll free up some memory, and then I'll be able to just fucking relax and enjoy the rest of my life around it.
So I just had that sort of like yesterday where like I had reviews in and I was just chilled. But like on that first night where like Bennett was in and stuff, and people slag off
Bennett being the reviewer.
We've
flagged him off on the podcast before if you're digging the archives.
And Sloss is going to hate that I say this on a podcast.
It's so funny that you've hard pivoted your stance on him.
Every review I've ever had of him has been very fair.
This is so funny.
Like even the ones where he slags me off.
He gives him a good review and he's like, "This man."
I said it before the review came out.
Knows his shit.
I said it before the review came out.
Knows his shit.
You
were talking to me before the podcast came. Well, the thing that people don't like about him is he's always right. If he gives you a 2 stars, it's usually because it's the stuff that you already know that you're doing wrong.
I think what he's good at is picking up on things that you are aware of about your show that to like some other people you can hide and disguise.
Aye.
And to him, you can't. If there is like for some reason at the end of your show you decide the last 15 minutes are to be heartfelt and you do it just because you go, oh, I better do this and cram something in, he will pick up on that.
Someone put a compilation together of all of the times that he's just reviewed the act on being Geordie.
Has he? Yeah.
He fucking can't help but just mention your accent and your Geordie and all that, and that's the bulk of a lot of people's reviews. That was way back when. Like I don't know how much he's evolved as a critic, if there is evolution within that.
I just think like my view on reviews changed when I started getting good ones, but it changed when it was like, and we're talking about like the hypocrisy of these people who are marching on mosques and stuff earlier and all of this stuff, the hypocrisy of comedians. Right.
Oh no, I've slagged off reviewers for the fucking longest time and I haven't had a bad review in fucking about a decade.
Yeah, and then when you get good reviews, you suddenly share them and they're right, and then I would say my first few reviews from him are absolutely fair. Like,
no, it's not fair. It's totally unfair because I've gotten bad reviews from fucking that website before, and I just started out, man. Like, what the fuck? Why is that getting immortalised on the internet? I'm trying to figure this shit out.
Because that's the job you're in, bro. It's brutal. It's cutthroat. We're in this job. What's that round? Wait.
Why are you trying to take the wind out of me sails when I'm fucking just putting my sails up?
But it's just sink or swim, man. Like you're either built for this or you're not. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what I mean? I do think it's fucking. I do think it's deeply inappropriate to fucking take shots at people's dreams, like.
Yeah, but like, okay, but then you can take shots at our dreams, but then when we're at altitude and we're having a beer on a Tuesday afternoon up a mountain and being paid to be there, that's in spite. That's the yin and the yang of it.
That's the yin and the yang. Fucking the spanner that fucking these reviewers threw in the works in the earlier days of my career.
Yeah, I wish I hadn't been reviewed as early on as I was.
Yeah. Or just reviewed politely, just like, man, I'm gonna put this up, but here's my actual feedback.
Yeah.
I've watched a lot of comedy, so I hope you take my opinion is something of value.
Yeah.
This is where I think you could have gotten the extra star from.
Yeah.
But like fucking slagging you off the internet, trolling. You're being trolled.
But that's that's the world, man. Like people don't like reviews like you.
It used to be that review would come out and then the next day it would be wrapping up someone's fish and chips. Knew it's there forever.
It's not fair.
It's not fair. Not fair on the youngins. Like, I fucking take that shot at them there and then, but they've let it just fucking be a little mark, a little like permanent. It's in permanent mark.
You can prove it. You can prove it wrong.
You can find it by googling someone.
You can watch someone's career growth. You can watch it start out as this guy's shit to this guy's good.
If you've got a bit of time on your hands right now before you get to work, go and look up Tim Minchin's response to Phil Doust. I think if you type in Tim Minchin, Phil Doust, it'll probably fill the word doused in for you. I don't need to spell it for you, because if you just write Tim Minchin P, you'll get the Phil Doust song, where he teed off on a reviewer that gave him a review early in his career, and this was him when he's like in his pomp. He's reached this fucking big stage, and instead of letting it go, he writes the most petulant song aimed at Phil Doust. Great. And it's fucking phenomenal because he speaks for so many of us.
Yeah. Like, I do love that thing of like, but like when Bennett first came, I was, bro, this is humiliating. I was like 17, when I got my first review from Bennett. Tore into me. Like, I was like teared up. I was like, oh shit, stand up, you know what I mean? Like,
why would you do that of a 17-year-old as a grown-ass man?
But here's the thing, he was right in the review. He was right.
Tell you in the pub, like, in fact, he probably wouldn't. He'd get killed.
But like, he was right. That's what annoys me about it. Like, he was correct with that review. Now, like years later, like to have the maturity and the point in my career where I can look at things and go, listen, I was entering a man's world or whatever. This is show business. It's cutthroat. It's ruthless. And you've got to put up with fucking bombing on stage. You've got to put up with someone putting something online saying that you're a piece of shit. You've got to put up with someone that you think's bad selling more tickets than you. You've got to put up with it. Like, that's what it is.
It is. I've started responding to trolls occasionally online now. I've been enjoying it, having a proper laugh, lighting them up, because they're fucking putting something in a public forum and then you're making them look like dicks in a public forum. Yeah. You should never put attention to them, because this I've always thought.
You can be funny.
What I've always thought is you're probably ignoring some people that have been nice to you.
Yeah.
Some people have been nice to you and you've just fucking hit like, or you've ignored it and just it's made you feel good, and then someone attacks some shit and then you give them a bit of your time and attention and all that, and I just feel like that's unfair that you're fucking not talking to these people who are supporting you. And now you're talking to this guy. But sometimes I'm just like, nah, I'm going to do this for comedy value. I'm going to try and make the 30 or 40 people that say it laugh.
Yeah.
I'm going to fucking tee off on this cunt for just for the public exhibition of like, all right, you've got my attention, I'm going to fucking nail you.
Some guy at one time on Twitter wanted, what was it? I made a Holocaust joke, deleted it because I was like, it was a bit hack. I can't remember what it was about. Schindler's.
Man, I think the worst fear would be to put out a joke that you misjudged, and then somebody sees it with this joke has been deleted, screen caps it, and then it ends up on a thread of the worst jokes on Twitter.
Well, that's so this guy like screenshotted it, and then I deleted that because it was hacked, and the guy had screenshotted it and sent it to my dad and went, look what kind of jokes your son is saying on Twitter. And then they went, and he's trying to say that he got hacked. When I said I deleted it because it's hack. And then I was like, sorry, do you think my dad's gonna ground me because of a tweet? Like, what's your plan here? Like, as if my dad's gonna pull me in and tell him my dad on me for a tweet. And my dad was just, we were laughing about it. And he went, yeah, it was hack. My dad started going through and fixing the joke for me.
Yeah, he wasn't thinking of the content, he was thinking of the structure.
He started improving my Holocaust.
You're so close to an original point.
Yeah.
Right, well, my beer glass is empty. We've got shows to do.
It's been good seeing you, man.
It's been class. I'm going to spend... I've been commuting in and out of Edinburgh, but I think I'm going to book some accommodation for the next week and spend some time immersed in the festival. Come to our shows if you can get to the Fringe, which if you're listening from the northeast of England, I think that there's going to be trains on that run late, and you can actually come and get back in time for your job tomorrow or whatever the fuck you're doing. You can just go gallivanting to Edinburgh. if you're coming through to Edinburgh, you can go see Elliot Steele at 9:15 in the Underbelly.
9:45.
9:45,
at
sorry.
the Buttercup. We're speaking some truth in the Buttercup, people. And one of the worst names roomed ever. But yeah, it's going really well. And then I'll have a special coming out in November and stuff.
Great.
Which I'm looking at. Man, I can't wait. I'm so excited for it.
And I'm on at 7:15 at the Subatomic, and both our shows are up and running. His is getting good reviews already. I'm personally happy about how mine is. Like, I've got it took a little while to click in my head. Where like I'm on stage going, what bit's next? Make this bit longer so you've got more time to think about what's next, and then you just end up with like a really wordy routine.
Yeah.
Yesterday, trimmed the fat.
Great.
Got everything back to back jokes.
And it just comes slick on the show.
But what you need is a couple of them back to back so that you know it wasn't a one-off.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to have consistency. We've been putting the graft in on our shows, and we're happy with them, and we want you to come and see them. So 7:15 and 9:45, you could go back to back hours and have time for a pint in between. See you at the festival.